What's going on, Zoning here, and for today I'm going to be giving you my top defensive formation in college football 26. And just to keep in mind, every formation I have listed will be under the 4-3 multiple defensive playbook. So for coaching adjustments, I have everything about the same for every formation. So auto flip, I like to have that turned off. Defensive motion response, I like to have that on disabled. And we're going to scroll all the way down to our safety depth. I like to have this on close. And some of the times for safety whip, I like to run pinch, but for majority of the time, I like to run this on default. So for our first formation, I like to come out in the 4-3 even 6-1. The 4-3 even 6-1 is a great all-around defense. I like to run this myself. I think it's perfect against any type of offense. It has amazing shoots versus the run, and also it has really good pass coverage and really good blitzing setups. I like to make sure I got a really good user at my middle linebacker. I like to have speed on my outside, and this is optional. I sometimes drop both of these guys in the coverage, so I like to have really good man end zone coverage on my linebackers. So I'm going to be coming out in the Samuel Blitz, and this is optional. For more sheds, what I like to do, I'm going to go ahead and hold the icon on a play, and we're going to scroll all the way down for the Texas 4-man. I like to run this for better sheds, but for the blitzing setup, if you don't want the stunt, I'm going to go ahead and just crash out on the line. And for pass protection, we could leave the 6-man blitz, but I'm going to go ahead and just zone out some of my guys here. So we're going to have a hybrid type of coverage just like this. And you can see that our linebacker was able to come free. To guarantee it, I like to go ahead and mug the gap right here. So we're going to make contact with the center. We can even run a cover 2 and mug this gap right here. We can still blitz this right outside linebacker, but let's go ahead and throw him on a zone assignment, and we're going to still mug the gap. And for the Texas 4-man, I'm just going to go ahead and just run a man with my outside linebacker zoned out in hard flats. The blitz doesn't come in, but you get a lot of sheds with the Texas 4-man. We can even run a roll type of coverage like a cover 3 hard flat. I'm going to slant the line towards the blitzing side, and we're going to crash out on the defensive line just like this, and I'll put myself on a zone assignment. The 4-3 even 6-1 is also really good for run D, and how I like to stop the run, I'm going to go ahead and slant the line towards the running back. I'm going to crash out the line, so it's pretty much like our blitzing setup from earlier, but I'm going to go ahead and zone out my outside linebackers. And I do have my safeties around close, so they're 8 yards off the ball. So if I miss a tackle, I do have somebody over top to help. And we're going to sit right on the running back, and the hole should open up. Yeah, I missed the tackle, but I still have somebody to help me with it. So we're going to run it again, shift the line towards running back. They kind of nerf dive tackles this year, so it is a hard tackle to make. Sometimes I will click off, and I will have the AI make the tackle for me. So the hole was able to open up, and I'm there with the tackle. I'm going to run it again. I'm going to try to click off this time. For our second formation, I like to also come out in the 3-3 cub. The 3-3 cub is really good versus any type of spread offense. It is amazing in the coverage with the addition of the slot corner. It has solid run D and a really good 4 and 5-man blitzing setup. For personnel, it's completely up to you. What I like to do, because this is a nickel set, I can go ahead and sub in a free safety or strong safety at my user. So before I come out in nickel cub, I'm going to go ahead and sub in a free safety at linebacker. And for my outside linebackers, I like to go ahead and sub in my fastest players. And we're going to come out in the Mike Blitz 0. And this is optional, but you can go ahead and run the left Texas 2-man. But if you don't like it, you can just go ahead and spread the line. So for the blitzing setup, what I like to do, I'm going to go ahead and slant my line towards the left. And then for a backside adjustment, we can just go ahead, run something like a cover 3 right here. We can send that 5-man, but I'm going to go ahead and throw him on a zone assignment. I'm going to sit right over top of the gap. And a blitz should come in. Run that again. We're going to sit right over top of the center. After we make contact, we're going to drop ourselves back into coverage. But if you don't like it, I'm going to go ahead and slant the line towards that blitzing side again. We're going to crash out on a defensive line, so we should get blitzing angles just like this. And let's just zone everybody out again. I can also send this 5-man right here. So now we're going to run a cover 2 look, but we're going to send an outside linebacker. And we can even send 3. And I like this Texas 2-man. This is really good for sheds. So we're going to make contact with the center, drop ourselves into coverage. I'm going to come out in the cover 4 show 2, and we're going to run a Texas 2-man. And I do have auto flip turned off, so I have my blitz on the left side. So that means in zone coverage, my slot corner is going to be on the left as well. And that's fine because I have this linebacker in that hard flat, and we can just go ahead and leave him out there. And we can also pass commit, so he's more involved in the pass game. So we're going to shift that line towards the left. So for the blitz, we're going to shift that line towards the left, play underneath, and then pass commit. And I like to contain too, so they have that outside leverage. For our third formation, I like to come out in the 3-3 stack. The 3-3 stack isn't the best against the run with its lack of line talent, but it makes up for it with its amazing pass defense. In this formation, you're able to plug in multiple defensive backs at linebacker. It doesn't look like it, but this formation has a really good 3-man blitz and a really good 5. So for nickel 3-3 stack, what I like to do out of here, I'm going to sub in all of my safeties into linebacker, and I like to come out in the cover 2-man. So the play art is going to look something like this, and for a setup, I like to shift my linebackers to the left, and we're going to pinch the defensive line. So we're going to have something just like this, and I'm going to go ahead and blitz my other linebacker triangle and then contain. So we're going to have something just like this. If I'm on a linebacker, I like to sit right in this gap right here, but sometimes I will get on the safety and try to play this running back coming out of the backfield. So we're going to see that our linebacker is able to come in right there. Let's run that again. I might even run a zone on this right side, and then I got the middle of the field to myself right here. So everything from right to left is mine. And you want to keep in mind, when you call cover 2-man, it is automatically shaded underneath, so you're going to play over top so you don't get burnt on the deep ball. For another setup, I like to go ahead and pinch my line, and then we're going to crash inside. So we're going to have a blitz angle just like this, and I can sit right over here. So we're only sending 3 guys. Everybody else is in coverage, so that's our main priority, is the pass. And somebody was able to come in. Let's run that one more time. And for our last formation, I like to come out in the 4-2 single mug. The 2-4 single mug has a really good pass disruption. This is because of the new addition of the stunts on the defensive line. This helps with the pass on the back end. These combined would lead to a bunch of stops for the defense. So for personnel, the only thing I like to have is my best pass rushers on the edges, because when they loop inside, if they don't get in, they're going to still have that high block shed and high power move and finesse move. So for the 2-4 single mug, I'm just going to go ahead and just sub in a safety as my user right here. And for my coaching adjustments, I'm going to go ahead and turn on my auto flip, because I'm going to be running a lot of zone coverage, so I want my slot corner on the strong side of the formation. So we're going to have that flipped on. And for the play, I like to come out in the DT Mike Loop 3. And we're going to go ahead and hold the icon and roll down to the Texas 4-man. We're going to have something just like this. We can leave the match coverage, but I like to go ahead and play underneath. And I'm going to go ahead and spread our defensive line. I'm going to man them up on a tight end. Sometimes I might flip it to the slot corner, or I might even put them on a zone assignment, and my user is going to be right here on that yellow zone. And for a 2-high look, I like to come out in the cover 2 shell. Now we have this cover 2 look. Let's go ahead and man up our linebacker, and we are on this mid read. Spread the line one more time. I will even man him up on the slot. Now I can give this a cover 2 look. And what I'm going to do, I am going to go ahead and just leave that linebacker on that blitz. So we have that 5-man going on.